Good morning and welcome to the first broadcast of the Panther preview for the 17-18 school year. I'm your host, Athletic Director Matt Martin. As always, we will be taking an in-depth look at Knightstown athletics. Each episode we will highlight a specific Lady Panther or Panther sports team, and today's focus will be the girls soccer team. In today's show, we'll be talking with Knightstown girls soccer coach Dusty McGee, along with players Elaine Cease and Lori Thomas. First on today's show is head girls soccer coach Dusty McGee. Coach, thanks for joining us.
Hey, no problem.
This is your third season as girls soccer coach. We talked kind of last year on the differences between year one, year two. Did you see any major differences between year two, year three?
Well, one of the main things is everybody's older now. I mean, a lot of these kids that I have right now I've had for the last 3 years. So when I got them, they were freshmen and sophomores. Now they're juniors and seniors. So I would say, just our physicality and just understanding what's expected.
Mentioning that the girls are a year older, did you have any, or did you approach anything differently this year than what you have in years past?
Not necessarily. I mean, the off season was kind of the same. We started doing some workouts in July, but as far as beginning of the year, this year we didn't have a scrimmage and things like that. So we scrimmaged a lot more than we have in the past in the preseason.
We'll kind of get to the change in schedule a little bit later on, but in the off season, you scrimmaging amongst yourselves or the boys, does that benefit you more, you think, especially with a team that you're more comfortable with?
I think that definitely helps us. Anytime you can scrimmage against guys, I mean, they're usually faster and stronger, so that's beneficial to us, definitely. Just learning how to play against guys that are probably a little bit more skilled and they're just stronger and more physical.
Later on, we'll kind of rewind a little bit, but looking up to this season to this point, can you give us any highlights that maybe stick out in your mind so far?
Well, I mean, I would say so far we've played every team in our sectional except for Wapahani, and we've got a win and 2 draws, and so that's something that I look back and I'm like, that this is the first time I think in 3 years I think we have a chance to be competitive against anyone in our sectional, not just 1 or 2 teams. I think we're going to be competitive and beat anybody in our sectional.
You've had some early success too. I would say in the 5 years that we've had a girls soccer program up to this point, this has got to be at least close to the most amount of wins that we've had up to this point. How has that kind of been relayed or played in the girls' minds?
Well, I mean, I think they understand and they know. I think I went back and looked, and in my first year we won 3. I think last year we won 4, and this year we're 4-2-2 with some winnable games coming up. And I think they know. They know that we're winning. We went 3 games without giving up a goal, and then last night we gave up 1. But I mean, we've been playing solid this year.
I'm sure the mindset now is gone from let's just be, let's have fun to let's somewhat be competitive to let's be competitive to now, you go out every night and I'm sure you want to win no matter who you're playing.
Yeah, I mean, my first year, I would say pretty spot on. We were just there to, try to get better and have fun. And then last year it kind of got to where we're a little bit more competitive. But this year it's like, that would be one of the biggest differences, I think, this year is we're competitive. We want to win, and that's the thing I like about this team is we expect to win. I mean, every night we think we have a chance to win.
Well, and you and I were talking on the way up here. A lot of coaches have told you that how much better fundamentally and team-wise that you've gotten. Looking at a little wrinkle that the IHSA put in the schedule this year was they moved the start date of soccer from that Monday to that Saturday. Therefore, we kind of eliminated that scrimmage game and made it an actual game with Greensburg. Guess what? You already mentioned somewhat negatives that you didn't have the true scrimmage, so you've scrimmaged the boys and amongst yourselves a little bit more. But what else does that play, and what other positive or negative does that bring to you and to your team?
Well, I mean, I think it's good because you can just preach leading up to it. Hey, this is a game. This isn't a practice. This isn't a scrimmage. We've got to do things right now. Mm-hmm. And so that's kind of the mindset is going into it is, hey, we've got to clean up our throw-ins. There's no, in a scrimmage you can make some mistakes and like when there's a free kick, some of the younger kids that haven't experienced it, they'd know when to go on the whistle, when to wait. And when you have a game to start out the season, it's like you throw all that out the window. You got to be ready to go.
Sure. Oh, absolutely. And like you said, that's nice that now it's there to be played. Much like last year, you've got a lot of youth on this team, but you've also got a balance of older players as well. How has that played out this year compared to years past?
Well, it's nice because I can tell one of the upperclassmen, hey, can you get this message to everybody? And they're able to just send that message and get it to everybody. And it's nice because I don't have to do as much of the managing the team as in the past, where they kind of manage themselves. The upperclassmen don't let the underclassmen mess around in practice, or don't let them not play hard on the field. They're on them because they want to win, and that's been a positive this year too, is having upperclassmen.
Take a little bit more responsibility on themselves, and that's always good to see. I said we're going to kind of backtrack a little bit, and reversing back to the off season. Did you and the girls happen to set any preseason goals, or has it been kind of the same in years past? We want to come in, play, be competitive, and then compete for a sectional.
Yeah, I don't think we set really any goals, but I mean, I think if you asked every single person on the team, they would say that I'm competitive, and they know that I expect to win and like to win, and I know that they all like to win. So I think coming into it, I mean, we obviously have some teams that we like to beat: Centerville, Union County, Wapahani. We consider rivals that we just like to beat and be competitive with. And in the past, we really haven't been competitive with Centerville or Union County.
Right.
And this year, we've tied both of them. I think we tied 1-0-0, one last night 1-1, and so that's how I think the girls realize, hey, we're better than we were, and we have a chance to be good this year.
Well, especially in a close game, you can also look at, well, we could have done A, B, or C differently that would have taken us from a tie to a win.
Absolutely.
Or in the worst case, vice versa. Assuming that these two ladies that have joined us today, and Lori and Elaine, have been two of your leaders, but between those two and your other, more seasoned players, you mentioned the communication stuff, but what other things have they been doing, or others have been doing to kind of help your success?
Well, my upperclassmen have done a good job of, welcoming the freshmen and sophomores that have joined the team this year, and they, they do a good job of making sure everybody's included and making them feel like they're a part of the team, even if they're not playing that much. Mm-hmm. I think that if you ask any of our younger kids, they would look up to these kids over here, and that's a good thing.
And your roster too, a testament to you and the girls, is larger than what it has been in years past. I think up to 20. How do the older girls play into that as well? I mean, you mentioned because they're not playing as much. Do they kind of take them under their wing and say, keep working hard, we'll get there, or how does that work?
Yeah, I mean that, and just teaching them little things. Like, for example, Elaine plays defense. I've heard her a few times this year in practice, don't clear the ball to the middle, clear it to the outside. Little things that maybe I've said, but they're around the defenders, the younger defenders more than I am. So, they're just teaching them little things that maybe they were taught by upperclassmen 2 years ago. And that's the type of things that they're doing, just kind of doing some coaching themselves.
Well, as well as I do, coming from a player, it means more than it does coming from a coach. I mean,
yeah,
players get so, in some cases, tired of the repetitiveness of a coach that it helps from coming from a younger player.
Yeah, anytime you hear something from a different voice, especially someone that you go to class with every day, if someone, one of these upperclassmen tells someone, hey, you need to play hard, you're not playing hard enough, I've probably said it 5 times already on the sideline, and they're tired of hearing it. Whereas when they hear it from them, it's the first time they've heard it. Okay, Lori wants me to play hard, I've got to play hard, or Elaine wants me to play hard.
And especially since as close as these girls seem to be as a group, always around, always having fun, and that type of stuff.
Oh yeah, I mean they hang out all the time. I mean, and that's part of it. Our chemistry this year is really good, and we got upperclassmen, we got some younger kids, but we all get along, and that's always positive to have when you're playing sports, is to have a team that enjoys being around each other and playing with each other.
Oh, no doubt at all. Well, that's all the time we have for segment 1. After the break, we will continue talking with Dusty here at About Girls Soccer.
Carnegie's A Place to Eat is the place for exceptional dining in Greenfield. Enjoy our hand-cut steaks, fresh seafood, herbs and vegetables straight from our gardens, prepared with a northern Italian flair. Chef Ian and his staff welcome you as our guests to enjoy fine wines, dinners, and ambiance. Carnegie's is the place for your special event with a private room that seats 100. Perfect for your next party, business meeting, or wedding reception. We are located in the historic Carnegie Library in downtown Greenfield. We'll see you at Carnegie's.
Welcome back to segment 2 of the Panther Preview. We are continuing to talk with head coach Dusty McGee. Once again, Coach, little rewind here. We talked last year about this time, and so how did last season go? Pros and cons, and do you think it influenced this season, if anything?
Yeah, I definitely do. I mean, we finished strong last year, and whenever you finish strong and then you're leading into the next year, that's a good thing. And I thought last year we finished strong. We lost to Union County 2-0 in the sectional. But we played them earlier in the year. They beat us, I think, 6-0 or 4-0 or something like that. And really, realistically, they beat us 2-0. But it was a tight game. And one of their goals, I think, was kind of lucky. The ball spun off the turf bad and got by our goalie. But it very easily could have been 0-0 or 1-1. And so I think it's definitely a positive to finish strong.
So do you take the progression from middle of last year of 6-0 to sectional of 2-0 to last night as a 1-1? How do you rally the troops, if you will, or how do you push that to show the girls what the progression is?
Well, I think they all understand. I mean, they're all smart enough to know that, hey, we haven't been competitive, and then last year we were competitive, and then this year, last night, I didn't even think we played very well last night. Mm-hmm. I didn't think we were as aggressive or as physical as we usually are, and that's kind of our MO as a team. We're not very skilled, but we play hard, and we're usually physical and make other teams feel us. And I didn't think we did that last night, and we still walked away with a 1-1 draw. And so I think they understand that we have a chance to be competitive this year.
Oh, absolutely.
Against anyone.
And I think every game you've been competitive in, you've been in. If it even hasn't gone your way.
Yeah.
Selfishly, I threw this in there and wanted to ask this question, but it was your team's time for the uniform cycle, and I've always been a coach that kind of a look good, play good. I feel like if you feel good about yourself, that's going to carry you to the field. Do you think that played a role in the players' minds every time they step on the field that we do have new uniforms and that will kind of bump their thought process, or is it just it's clothes we throw on and we go play?
Oh, definitely. Girls sports, they care what they look like. That's one thing. I coach guys and girls care what they look like. This week's homecoming week for us, and I don't know if we've had a conversation that hasn't been about homecoming. So yes, it absolutely, that plays and we're undefeated with the red uniforms. So
there you go.
I guess I'll say yes.
Okay,
I think it does.
You can't beat that, and homecoming is an important time, and 2 games homecoming week last night and then Saturday.
Well, we play tomorrow too.
Oh, that's right. You're on the road tomorrow,
yeah.
and you mentioned the homecoming's in the back of the mind. Contribute that to anything last night against Union County, or do you think it was just one of those games where just wasn't there?
No, I definitely think that played a little bit into it. Definitely think that played a little bit into it. I get it.
Sure. Oh yeah.
I get it.
Absolutely.
But I definitely do think it did. They're talking about it, who they're taking to homecoming, what they're wearing, how long it's going to take to do their hair. Yes, absolutely, it played into last night's performance.
Did it take you a while to do your hair for homecoming?
Yeah, about 10 seconds.
Okay, well, that's good. Let's get back to kind of the more important part of the conversation, which is the rest of the season. Have you kind of picked a couple teams in the back part of your schedule, or what are your thoughts going into the second half?
Well, I think we got some winnable games. We have Anderson tomorrow. I think it's a winnable game, and then I know coming up next week we play Wapahani on the road, and they're going to be ready to play because we've kind of had a little rivalry with them. I don't know why. We're not very close as far as distance, but for some reason we just play really hard against them, and I think they know that that's usually a winnable game for them. And so it's kind of become a little rivalry, and we like to go over there, and we would like to go over there and try to beat them pretty bad. And
sure.
That's just, and so I think that's a game that I'm looking forward to here in a couple weeks.
Once you get past kind of the latter part of the season, hopefully a lot more winnable games and continue to get the win column. But sectional, once again, is going to be held at Don Willard Field, boys and girls this year. I believe I asked you this last year, but once again, I'm asking it again this year. Any benefits to playing at home as far as our sectional? Of course, our field being turf. Let's take turf out of it for a second. Are there any other just major benefits to playing your home sectional on your home field?
Yeah, I mean, anytime you don't have to travel and someone else has to travel. I mean, Union County's got to travel 45, 50 minutes. Centerville's, 20, 25 minutes. And then you've got Wapahane coming from Muncie,
sure,
and Muncie Burris coming from Muncie. I mean, that's a huge advantage to us. I mean, we're on the field getting loosened up and ready to go, and they're on a bus driving. I think that's a huge advantage to the home team.
Okay, now let's add the turf into that equation.
Oh, the turf is a big deal. I mean, I talked to Union County's coach yesterday, and they play on a much smaller grass field. Mm-hmm. And the first thing he said was, this turf just kills us. He goes, it's so fast. And it does. I mean, it's a lot of balls that normally your teams are used to getting to are rolling to the goalie or rolling out of bounds. Mm-hmm. Makes passing harder. The game's just so much faster. And then if it rains or does something like that, it just is totally different. I mean, it just makes it even 3 times harder.
What about negatives? Any negatives of playing at home in front of a home crowd or? Well,
I think the only negative I could think of was you're expected to perform better mm-hmm. when you're playing at home versus if you're going on the road and playing, a team on a neutral field or playing the host school
sure.
on their home floor. I think there's more expectations when you're at home.
Well, and selfishly for me, it's a lot more fun when I'm watching our teams play versus 2 teams that I don't care who wins.
Right, absolutely.
Could you preview the sectional for me? Somewhat of a new sectional, but a lot of teams that are similar.
Yeah, I think our sectional is going to be very competitive. I honestly, we played Muncie Burris, Centerville, and Union County, and we play Wapahane next week. But so far, the 3 teams we've played, I mean, it's been a 1-0 game, a 0-0, and a 1-1. So I mean, all of us have solid defenses. All of us are capable of scoring. I think it's going to be very competitive, and it's really going to come down to who makes the least amount of mistakes and who plays the hardest, I think.
Any clear favorite, do you think, or is it one of those sectionals where you just put all the teams in a hat and whoever comes out, it won't be a surprise to anybody?
In years past, I would have said Triton Central, Oldenburg were favorites because they were in our sectional. This year, I don't think there's a favorite. Well, I think there's 4 teams that could probably win it.
Well, and not wanting to cut the season short, but looking ahead, what's the current roster kind of look like for next year? Return a lot of girls, some 8th graders that might come in.
Yeah, I mean we lose Elaine. We lose 2 defenders that start, a midfielder that starts, and then a midfielder that comes in and plays, 20, 30 minutes a game.
Mm-hmm. Good chunk of it.
Yeah, I mean they definitely a backup off the bench, and then we return everybody else, and we'll be pretty old next year. We'll have a lot of seniors and juniors. And then there are a couple 8th graders that I've watched, just going to Saturday Optimist games and stuff like that I think could help us next year. And then there's always that chance of having somebody that maybe plays a different sport that decides, hey, I'm going to give soccer a try, like Abby Arnold did this year, mm-hmm. and she's played every game for us and scored 3 or 4 goals.
Yeah, and once again, like I said, you never know, but it's also kind of nice to look ahead a little bit. But Coach, I appreciate you being here. That's all the time we have for segment 2. When we return, we will talk with soccer teammates Lori Thomas and Elaine Cease.
A family farm with a family that does more than farm. A community-owned telecom that connected everything and everyone with high bandwidth fiber optic. She can run her business while staying close to the people she loves most. And he can launch a promising new venture without leaving the farm. 9-Star Connect. Community-owned, community-strong.
Welcome back to the Panther preview for segment 3. We just got done talking with head coach Dusty McGee. And now we have on set Elaine Cease and Lori Thomas. Ladies, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having
Let's
us.
be honest, the only reason you ladies came here was for the pizza. That's,
Yep.
that's the only reason. And it is nice that the three of you are matching today. We normally don't have that, but that's always a good benefit. Now, was this the homecoming part that Coach talked about your hair and your outfits and stuff?
Kind of.
No.
I mean,
He made fun of us because it takes us 2 hours to get ready.
Did it take you 2 hours to get ready today?
no.
No? Okay, well, that's good. Let's start at the beginning of the season. Question you didn't want me to ask, but I'm going to anyway. Did being familiar with Coach, play any role in the off season in how you acted or how he reacted or anything like that?
I think it really took a lot for us to, playing soccer at the beginning because we really didn't know and it was a new sport. And for Dusty to coach 3 years, it kind of helps us because we already know what he coaches like, and we already know what way we're going to have to work hard, and he's competitive, so it kind of helped us a lot.
Elaine, how about for you? Okay, let me ask you this. In his 3 years that you've been with him, has he changed anything up drastically, or has it been pretty much the same thing?
I think it's been the same thing, but with the different girls this year, since we all know each other, it's easier to work together and know how he expects us to play.
Any main differences between years past and this year? More expectations? I mean, has his coach tougher because of how familiar and he knows the level that you guys can play at, or has it been pretty much Coach McGee?
I think he's changed because usually they're like, girls soccer, it's new, we're not going to be very good. But now since we're starting to get good, he expects us to play competitively and win a lot of games. So he's not changed the way he's coached, but just kind of his expectations for us.
Do you see that as well? Let's talk some I guess game time decisions. We talked with Coach a little bit earlier about the Greensburg situation. Do you think that helped or hurt you ladies because now it is game time? There's not that buffer game.
I think that was kind of difficult because we have new girls who hadn't even played in any games before, and so they just had to jump in and figure it out when he put them in.
Lori, how about for you?
I think it kind of helped us too, just because it kind of gave us a head start. Like, oh, we won a game. Like, it's not a scrimmage. We actually won a game, so it kind of helps us to go and we can do more and win more.
When you're in a scrimmage, Greensburg or any scrimmage for that matter, if you do lose, does that play a role? Or kind of like you said, this first game we won, now we're ready to go. Do you take that same approach to the scrimmage? If you lose, now maybe there's not as, happy of a feeling?
I think it kind of shows us that we need to work on these things, and like, it was just scrimmage. Everyone makes mistakes, but then it kind of shows us we need to do this and this to work and get better.
Elaine, how about for you?
I forget what the question.
About the scrimmage. If you lose in a scrimmage or you win, does it have the same effect as winning your first game?
I think, like she said, it helps us know what we need to work on, and it also kind of shows if we play like that and don't work on it that our season's going to be how the scrimmage was.
Okay, well, that's good. At least then we started with a win this year.
Yeah.
I think many players are different. For me, when I played, I liked the feeling of playing on the road. Different in my case, basketball. I didn't play much, so let's not even get into that. But new gym, kind of the fans are not on your side. Do you ladies enjoy playing at home, on the road? Does it really matter? Why?
I like playing at home because I like the turf, and our team knows how to play on the turf well, and we know that it's fast-paced.
I also like how a lot of the teams, like, oh, someone just got a football practice, oh, I'll stay for the girls' game. We usually have more of a big turnout and kind of want to play harder.
And obviously that plays a big factor in the cheering and that type of stuff. Does obviously all your practices are on grass, so that helps the other way. But do you see the benefit of practicing on grass versus practicing all the time on turf?
I think that because the other team's going to play on grass, so it kind of helps us to say, okay, we can play on grass or turf and still know the difference and how the ball's going to roll.
And that's good. How about highlights? Highlights for you two so far, whether in this short season or in years past?
We won one of our games 15-0, which was our new record, so that was nice.
That's always good.
Yeah. I think my highlight for this game is last night I had a really good goal, and it was like perfect, so it kind of, I don't know, I liked it a lot.
Makes you feel good about yourself, and especially anytime you win a game, it feels good. But 15-0 is a good feeling, and especially when you're in that situation, and unfortunately, there's a right way and a wrong way to win or lose those games. And from everything I hear, you guys did it the right way, which then once again makes you feel good about yourself. Sectionals are quickly approaching. As hard as it is to believe, I feel like we just started school. But similar to what we asked Coach, what are your goals for not just sectional, but the latter part of the season?
I think being competitive and trying to actually, because a lot of times in sectionals it's like we just need to play hard, even though we might not win it, but this time we can be really competitive and maybe actually make it to the championship.
What for you, Elaine?
I think we need to keep playing hard in the games that we have up to sectionals so that we keep that going into sectionals, because we have a chance this year and we all know that. So, question I asked Coach, and I'm going to phrase it a little differently, but if there was one team besides you that you thought was the favorite going into our sectional, who would it be and why? Centerville.
Okay, why?
Centerville's very competitive and very, not rough, but they're very physical, and I think that a lot of teams aren't as physical as they are, and that's what they have up on everyone.
What's it going to take for us to beat them? Is it going to be to try to out-finesse them, out-physical them? What's it going to take?
Yeah, we're going to have to be really physical and play harder than they do. It makes all the difference when we play harder.
And we're going to have more passing and just working as a team really hard.
You kind of mentioned, and we've kind of slid in there a little bit, that soccer at Knightstown, at least girl-wise, is a newer sport, 5-6 years in. What kind of advice would you give a girl that wants to play soccer in high school, seeing where the program started to where it is now?
I think don't be afraid to play just because you think, oh, I'm not as good, and I don't know, I'm kind of scared. Just go and have fun and try your best.
Yeah, and Lori and I played our first year of soccer ever in sophomore year, and we've come up really far. So even if you're new, it works.
It's a sport that kind of like you ladies mentioned a little bit. If you bust your tail in everything you do, that can give you an advantage in many places. Lastly, not to cut the season short, not to bring any emotions into this, but when you look back at your time as a KHS ladies soccer player, what do you most want to look back to and appreciate or smile about?
I think that I'll always look back at how fun it was, especially on bus rides home after we win. Even sometimes if we don't win, we still have our heads up and we're always having fun together. And especially this year, it's fun to actually be a team who can win.
Nothing wrong with that. Lori, how about kind of the same things for you, or?
I think that's the same thing as Elaine, but I think that our team really, right now, is really close together, and we play really well together, and it's going to be sad to leave.
And I don't disagree at all. It's been neat in my situation to see you ladies kind of go from, like I mentioned earlier, a team that wants to be competitive to now we are competitive and we win every game. And you can change your style a little bit from the physicality of Centerville to a speed kind of last night versus Union County. Well, ladies, I appreciate you joining us. We'll go have some pizza here in just a little bit. But Panther fans, that's all the time we have for today. I would like to thank all of our guests on today's show, these two ladies and Coach McGee. Don't forget to continually check our athletic website, which is www.knightstownathletics.com, and the athletic Twitter page at @CAB_athletics. More importantly, do not forget to come out and support these student athletes striving to be their best. Thanks again to 9 Star Communications and everyone at Greenfield Central High School. I am Matt Martin, and this has been the Panther Preview on 9 Star Channel 9.